Hey guys, welcome to another episode of Rivals on the Pitch podcast. Today we'll be going over match week 7. Some of us had a good weekend. Some of us might want to forget about it. We'll see how that goes. But we'll go over today's mini league. We'll see how that's going, and then we'll lead into the international break. I'm Randy.
I'm Pat.
And I'm depressed. And I'm Alan.
So now you know who had the weekend they'd like to forget.
Man United, once again.
That's every week.
The Man United of London, they call them now.
I thought they were the Everton of the South.
True. Everton of the South, giving up to an elite.
I think future champs fits better. Future champs.
Maybe the
2025 champs. I think we're going to end up higher on the table than people give us credit for. But
well, you said second, so that's what we're holding you to.
Season's not over yet.
And you said you'd end up above Arsenal.
And Liverpool.
Above Liverpool.
Season's not over yet. Southampton
above Villa.
On you. Yep.
Above. Oh my God. Southampton scored on us. Oh no.
Yep.
Cry myself to sleep. Ten Hagen.
Ten Hagen in, please. Keep them in. Keep them in.
So let's get into it. Our highlight game of the week. I don't think we need to say that our predictions were all wrong. This definitely was a disappointment in my opinion.
Yeah. You know, it's funny. I don't know why I didn't think they would come out a tie, because I'm sure Man United had that bottom of the table mentality, you know, newly promoted mentality of as long as we don't lose, we're good. Yeah, I'm surprised Villa didn't score though.
Maybe Eric Tehagen, you know, everyone, social media, you hear things, you know, so he probably heard these rumors and everything. So he's like, play it safe, get a draw. I have the international break to think things over, buy myself some time. I think he was just playing it safe, honestly.
United looked like they came out to play. Villa, coming up to this game, Villa had played Bayern Munich, and they won with a goal from John Duran at the end. So you would think that morale's high, you know, energy's high. And they came into this game looking like they were so tired, and they just looked all over the place. Man United was kind of running the show. Completely unexpected, but I remember telling you guys it looks like Manchester United players are trying to save this guy's job, and I don't know why, but yeah, it was so weird. And obviously Manchester United's goal scoring threats aren't really clicking, so I think they lack just that. If they had a serious attacking threat, I think they could have put one in. They could have won this game, but Villa looked all over the place.
But who do you think is going to be your attacking threat on Man U?
Well, that's what I'm saying. They don't have it. Yeah, no one actually
screams that.
No, nobody.
Yeah, you don't have a Rooney or Van Persie, you know, a Berbatov. No one of like that caliber. Ronaldo, Tevez. Those were names. You don't have no one like that.
And that's the thing about these two signings, Højlund and Zirkzee. They look like players that they could be molded into something, but they're not super tall. You know, they don't give you that, like, when you go face either of these players, I feel like they don't really scare anybody. You know what I mean? When you go face like Haaland, you're like, this guy, I have to keep an eye on him the entire game. You know what I mean? John Duran, Ollie Watkins.
But the thing of it, Eric Tehagen picked Højlund over Ollie Watkins. He was dead set on him. I mean, and now what? He's on the bench. He doesn't even start. The guy you fought to get, and he's
coming back from injury as well. I know they're kind of playing it safe with him, but still, at the end of the day, like, all of these players are players that he'd requested, and he got with no issues whatsoever. He could have gone for anybody else. I mean,
and he had Ronaldo, for God's sake.
Yeah, and it goes to show, like, Ronaldo was really keeping this team alive. He was scoring goals. He was the team player. And it goes to show without him what that team really became.
That's a person you want to keep who's going to, like, remind people of, like, this is what Manchester United is. And you send that guy away. Now there's, like, no leadership or no a stronger voice in that locker room. Because I know if Ronaldo speaks, people will listen. Because he was in that Manchester United of the glory days where he won everything. To have that into the locker room, and then just to kick him to the curb and sell him. That's someone I would probably respect. I'd probably keep him there to teach the younger guys. Whatever. Eric Hagen has a different idea, I guess.
It goes to show how low they've come that a draw away at Villa that they barely scraped for
is a win for them.
Yeah, it's like a giant win.
Yeah. But do you give him credit for resting his players, halfway through that European, I think the Europa Cup game against Porto? Because he was criticized for it, but I mean, it seems like Aston Villa didn't. Now they came back and they were looking, tired on the field.
That's very true, yeah.
And United didn't have that issue. I mean, see, maybe you're praising like, okay, good job, but you also didn't. They tied, right? They tied.
Yeah.
Yeah, but what's the point of resting if you're gonna get a draw? If you're not gonna get the win, so it's
2 draws. It also shows that your lack of confidence in your depth, the players that you have on your bench.
And he was getting a lot of ridicule because he took off Marcus Rashford, and he was playing well. He was playing excellent against that Porto team, and everyone was criticizing him for that. It's like, why are you taking him off? And he puts in Garnacho, who was subpar. But you're taking out your best player. You want Rashford to get that confidence. So if he does have to come to a game like Aston Villa, he'd be flying because they probably would have won if he would have stayed on. I think a lot of his substitutions didn't pan out, but as you can see, it ended up being a 3-3 draw. But I just don't think Eric de Hagen is confident in himself, or like you said, in the depth of his team as well. I think he's second guessing too much, and that is what's making these mistakes, and is what's it's showing that he's not doing it right because he's second guessing himself too much.
Is this a bigger win for United or a bigger loss for Villa?
I think it's for Villa.
I think for Villa it's a huge loss because they should have put 2-3 past this United team. I think it's at home. Regardless of what happens to Manchester United, if Villa struggle to get into that top 4, they would look back at this game and say, why couldn't you put that away? I think it's a bigger loss for Manchester United. I don't want to say it's a huge win. So it's almost like a safety net for Ten Hag. But I don't think any Manchester United will be happy that they didn't even win the game and he gets to stay. I think if he had won this game, they'd be like, all right, well, you know what?
Thanks for the points.
Yeah. So,
but what do you think about his critique? Is like we were played well defensively because we got a shutout, a clean sheet. I mean,
you know what? What
does that really matter in a sense?
I mean,
to him, if as a fan, as a Manchester United fan, would you be happy with that, or would you rather be like, no, I'd rather have a goal scored on us, but we would have won the game at least?
I feel like Spurs can never have a clean sheet. It's always something. It's either they score early or they score late. So when he said that at first, I was like, wow, you're really trying to say that, just because you have clean sheets that you're doing a decent job. But then maybe it's Onana. Maybe he's finally coming around as the goalkeeper that they wanted because he's had some really good saves this year. It does carry some weight, I do think.
He has improved dramatically.
Yeah.
He kind of does have a point. I mean,
he does.
They have Onana's right now in the race for the Golden Glove. And I do think he is being honest by saying that maybe he's sugarcoating it, but yeah, the attack's not clicking right now, and he's tried different formations, different starting trios, and it's just not working. And it's clear. I think, like I said, had they had a Ronaldo or they had gone for Ollie Watkins or anything like that, I think they could have one goal in this game that would have won it, and the narrative would be completely different. So he does have a point. I mean. The thing is, it's hard to say like, oh, well, we're good defensively, 4 clean sheets when you gave up a 2-0 lead away at Porto.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So it's hard sometimes. And then
and
the
when
way
you
that
lose
Spurs ran through them, it's hard to say that when it's like, oh, well, when you don't have a clean sheet, you're getting destroyed.
Exactly. Like it's the way you've lost your games that it kind of takes away from what you said. If your games were all close and you were on the verge of, either drawing or winning these games, and it's just that bit of I hate saying bad luck, but But when you're on your verge of like, close games, if you're losing games by close and you're, man, just one more, we just got to click a little bit more and then we're winning games. But that's not the case, it's your draw or you just get, battered. So
Obliterated, yeah.
Yeah. And so what he's saying, you kind of just dismiss. But in different circumstances, I do believe what he's trying to say does hold some weight. It's just with this club right now, it's a little, it's a little hard to look at that and be like, you know what? Yeah, you're right. You're doing a great job. When in all reality, like that team is suffering, those fans are suffering, and it feels good.
I'm eating it up. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, and even the owners are not even sure what to do. I think they're going to take this international break and have a good hard look, and hopefully Erik ten Hag can show some progress, or it's, like you said, either it's a draw or he gets beat up really badly.
Yeah.
I think the 2 draws might have put him here just a little bit longer, but I've seen a lot of rumors. Tuchel, I don't know if it was Potter. Someone else was linked.
Yeah, it was Potter. They were thinking of staying with the English as well. Even Eddie Howe from Newcastle. Xavi, yeah, because I heard that, but I think that's too far of a stretch as well. I think even Zidane was mentioned, but I think Zidane's like, nope, no thanks.
He didn't even want to coach Real Madrid.
Yeah, but
I remember he said, he's like, all right, I'll fill in 5 Champions League later.
Yeah, but I just don't think the way Manchester United looks, if you're the coach, you're going to have to do a massive rehaul, I guess.
I think Eddie Howe could get it done. He gets the money. He gets the backing.
But do you think he's going to get you
like
trophies?
A team that's got I think he could. If he's got the money, because right now, like Newcastle, they added a little bit of money, but I think they're dealing with the FVP in a completely different way than Manchester City did. So they're just trickling in, sensible signings. And I think if he gets to do that at Manchester United, I think he has a similar success. So he could be winning cups, possibly, getting him back to Champions League like he did with Newcastle. I think he could be in the top 3, top 2, at least till January. I think he could do it because he could take this team. He does really well with taking these like teams that are kind of like not expected to do well, and then just kind of get some fighting and kind of like putting up big fights against other teams.
Yeah, I think he's even brought teams from relegation into the Premier League and kept them there.
Yeah,
I think he's a good.
I think he would do well,
But I think someone like Manchester United would want to go within someone with the name. Like I think that's why Tuchel will stick out.
Do you think Emery would have had success with Man United?
I'm trying to think of like how it was with him at Arsenal.
If their red had to be purple, but
I mean, I think Manchester United will give him a little more space. I mean, a little more time. But I think he can. He's proven everywhere he's gone, he's improved. He would be able to get Man U back to, or close to back to where they should belong.
I don't know, because he was also at PSG and he specifically got him to win the Champions League, and he couldn't do it there. Obviously, he didn't have Messi or anything like that, but I mean,
but Messi, Neymar, and Mbappe couldn't win it either. So
yeah,
there's something going to that. That's the whole. They talk about
that was
us.
just a show,
Yeah.
They talk about the Spurs. I
show.
mean, PSG with all that money, they still can't win nothing.
Yeah. Anyway, so we get a few more weeks of
Erik ten Hag.
Who would have thought that Maguire might outlast Erik ten Hag?
You think he will?
I think Harry Maguire, when he was
a hero in the Porto game.
He's been going from hero to zero to zero to hero. That dude's been
Mr. Inconsistent.
I'm not even thinking like look at Johnny Evan, right? He's a Manchester United of old, and he's still there.
Yeah. He's older than Ten Hag.
and he plays better. He's one of the best center backs they have.
I know, it's insane. Because I think sometimes they lack that, almost like doing the basics right. And when you bring on someone who's experienced, that's what they're gonna do best.
They know what it is. Just keep it simple, stupid, and that's it.
Yeah, hey, come on, be nice.
Yeah.
Oh, I'll say it. You can cut that out, right?
Yeah. Beep.
Yeah, don't call Pat that.
Actually, that's the Spurs fan who think there's going to be in second place.
Season's not over.
I think that's enough torturing Man U for now.
Crystal Palace 0. Liverpool 1. Randy, what was your prediction for this
It
game?
wasn't 1. It was what?
One. I needed one more.
Barely.
Uno mas. That was it.
Barely.
What are you talking about?
It happened. It almost happened before. It almost happened before the match and didn't even count.
I know. Yeah, it was like a lucky early, and then they just couldn't get back in it.
When I saw that Jota goal, I was like, bro, this is gonna open up a floodgate.
What did you think of the game?
You get the win. Sometimes it's pretty, sometimes it's ugly to watch, but a win's a win. We did what we needed to do.
No, that's
stay
not
on
fair.
top of the league.
We can't get away with that, but you guys can. That's a load of BS.
I'm with you. I think this was a hard fought win, and I will say this: Crystal Palace looked like they were just missing a little something. And then, if you see here in the 60th minute, they made 2 changes. Mateta came in. They made 2 changes, and the game kind of changed a little bit. Then Crystal Palace looked like they were going to get an equalizer, and they just couldn't put it away. I don't want to say I'm happy about it, but I saw Nketiah get a chance 1-on-1 with the keeper, and he shoots it right at the keeper. I'm like, dude, this is the kind of stuff that used to upset me when he was in an Arsenal shirt. Just like, if you're supposed to be a deadly striker, like, you got to aim for the corners, right?
Yeah, that's what you're taught.
Right at the keeper, like, come on. And I was just like, seriously, I'm just glad he's not playing for us. I wish him the best, but this is the kind of stuff that I hated to see, because I'm like, come on, man, this is
bad decision making.
I get it. It's fast. You're close to the keeper, but that's what makes the difference between someone like Ollie Watkins and someone like Eddie Nketiah is just the decision making. Yeah.
But not to downplay Crystal Palace. I know they're a dangerous team. They've beaten Liverpool before. It was weird. I was scared because I feel like Crystal Palace.
Oh, you were scared?
They showed it. They can play well. I was scared because Crystal Palace, sometimes they show up, sometimes they don't. But they were playing well, especially at home. I know it was going to be a tough-fought victory. The early goal helped us. There's so much you can do. If it's early goal, you got to protect for 90 minutes.
Or score another one.
Or hopefully you get another goal. And then just how it just trickled down to Alisson getting injured. And then you're like, shit, we don't have the best backup we have, Kelleher. And then we have to bring in the third string. And it's his debut. It was a scary game, but I'm happy we got the point. Go into the international break, you can calm down. Hopefully people can get their wits together and, we can start strong again, because right after the international break, we got Hell Week, Hell Month. It's a rough patch right there. And Alisson going down is not a good look, but luckily we have a good backup.
I think they said ACL.
But he should be able to keep us in, but now it's just looking a little more interesting to say, no Alisson.
How are you feeling about these next few games? How are you feeling about? Do you think it was just that injury that caused this game to be so close, or do you think it was old Arnie Palmy Slotty?
No, I think it's Alisson is just, I don't know about him getting an age. I don't think it was no contact. I think it was a hamstring. I just
no contact.
He cleared the ball and then that was it.
Yeah, I maybe like everyone is saying, like maybe there's too much soccer, too much games being played,
but he's a keeper. Come on.
Yeah, again, he's a keeper, but maybe he stepped bad on his foot or something. But we don't know what he does in practice and all that stuff. But it's a big loss. I mean, we have a good backup goalkeeper. He should be able to keep us in the game. I mean, we still have we're still injury free right now. We still got our fullbacks, center backs, the midfield. I have faith in Kelleher.
But exactly, you have your full squad, and you still you barely got by in this game. Does that say anything, or you think that's just a one game?
I think it's bound to happen. This is soccer. Even the best teams have bad days when you think they're supposed to dominate. I just think it's maybe this game. Crystal Palace is a tough team. I'll give them that. They are a tough team to play against anyone.
But they also haven't won.
Yeah, but look at I'm not trying to look at Arsenal and Leicester. We thought it was going to be a blowout win, and it didn't end up being that way. These games are unpredictable.
Yeah, and Leicester just beating down on Arsenal, just beating them down, just whooping them.
But like I said, this is the beauty. This is the thing about soccer that I sort of hate and I love. Anyone can win on any given day. Luckily, Liverpool was able to stay with the win.
It's like the NFL any given Sunday.
Yeah, we have a break so we can, hopefully get ready for the next week, next stretch of games. But we needed this win.
I'm ready.
Win at any cost, I guess. Find a way to win and to keep the lead. You don't want to be up 2-0 and then give it away 3-2,
Yeah, the good thing is getting this win right before that stretch of games because
it gives you time to focus.
I'm not saying you guys are going to lose, but it's good to get that win before things could possibly go very south.
Yeah, at this point, you need to get as much games as you can, and much points as you can, just in case you have a loss or a draw. It helps up, but we only are 1 point ahead of.
Oh, I know.
Man City and Arsenal. So.
Right before the break, it is important to finish off on a win. The big teams know how to do it, right, Randy?
Of course, big teams. Speaking of big team, the next one is up. Southampton.
Oh boy.
Just wait, Alan. You'll get your turn.
Ugh, look at his dumb face.
What, this guy?
No, Arteta.
Oh my God, you hate him. You hate because he does well.
No, I hate him.
Yeah, because Big Ange, he says, "Oh, this is who we are." Dropping the 2-0 lead.
Actually, we'll get to it later, but
Okay.
I'm glad he said what he said.
Are you going to have your own episode just to rant about that?
Yeah.
Alan's Corner?
I mean, this game, first half finished 0-0. I was like, man, what's going on? And then 55 minutes in, Southampton gets a goal. And I was just having nightmares. I was like, not again. Did they not learn? They did a double over us when we were chasing the league. Basically, part of the team that put the nail on the coffin, And it was worse because it was Theo Walcott, Arsenal icon.
You call him icon?
Yeah, he's an icon, man. He's not a legend, but I mean,
he's a honorary.
He's an icon at the hospital, bro, but not at the.
I mean, he played for Arsenal since he was like 16. Scored Champions League goals, and he's But yeah, I was just starting to have war flashbacks. But then Kai Havertz with a striker's goal, man, moved left and right, confused the defender, and then takes out on his left foot, hits the post. Like, he hit that with hatred, gets us right back into the game. And then after that, it was all Arsenal, and I was just like, why can't we do this from the beginning? You know what I mean?
Because it's Arsenal. Come on.
It's because you did it against Southampton's bench players.
Oh,
they were tired. They didn't make any substitutions until the 74th minute. So I'm sure you were just playing against the tired Southampton. That's all you can be.
Yeah,
tired Southampton.
Okay.
So
yeah. Okay. I'd rather beat a Southampton bench than not beat a Brighton team.
Brighton didn't beat us.
Okay.
We beat us.
But yeah, no. At the end of the day, we got right back into it. That's what you got to do when you can see. That's the best thing you could do. And then from that, it was all Arsenal. Then Saka again, 7 assists and 7. He's on par to get enough assists that he could break the assist record for one Premier League, which is 20 right now, shared by both Thierry Henry and Kevin De Bruyne. We'll see. We'll see.
Kevin's out, isn't he? De Bruyne.
Yeah.
I don't think he would be making it up this season. I mean, he's.
But remember when he came back from injury last season, he was already like 15. I forgot how much he had, but he made a comeback in assists. But age, man, age is
age. Yeah,
age.
I'm surprised the Southampton manager has lasted this long. I think he's going to be the first one to get sacked. You're in the Premier League. You just got promoted. You can't come in with the mentality that, okay, we're just here for a year. We're here to stop by, and then we're back out. Like, you should be doing everything you can to survive another year. Give yourself a little bit more money, more profits, so that you can not challenge for the title, obviously, but challenge to stay out of that relegation
Stay
zone.
relevant.
Challenge to be within that mid-table, kind of how Nottingham Forest have been,
Right, right.
You're just kind of... I know 7 games isn't a lot, but 7 games, you're is valuable time. Every game counts. I'm surprised that they're keeping him here because they're not even looking close in some of these games. Crystal Palace, they haven't won, right? But they've been putting up some performances where they're drawing, they're losing
Same with Wolves.
close. Yeah.
It seems like they're just missing a little bit of time. They'll get into it, but you don't lose confidence.
But look at Ipswich. Ipswich is in the same position, and they at least can win a game. Southampton, they have more Premier League experience than Ipswich, and yet they're playing like it's their first time in the Premier League. They should know what to expect already. You think that would benefit them in some way?
Right, and if he makes it to December, then that's
got to be the end.
You just kiss your season goodbye. At that point, you're okay. Welcome back to the championship.
Unless he makes it because he turns things around.
That's true.
The international break can help everyone. Let's be honest. Maybe this is what they need. They need 2 good weeks to see the problems, get maybe their players back, call up some academy kid or something, work on formations, but. I think the international break might benefit them.
It might.
We have to wait and see.
I didn't get to watch this game. Brentford 5.
Ooh, me neither.
Wolves 3. It looked like a fun game.
Well, I did get to see at least
another early goal by Brentford, by the way.
Yes,
I saw that someone said that they wanted to switch up the plan to catch them off guard. So instead of scoring in the first,
they waited
in
the second. Yep, I saw it, and it worked. No, I don't know. Is something in the water in Brentford's cooler or something? I don't know, but Brentford is but at least they won by a good margin. Usually it's just one early goal, and after that, they keep it a draw or they lose. But they were actually able to keep on the pressure and win, which is great.
Yeah, what a crazy first half. Sorry. So goal in the 2nd minute, and then Wolves tie it up in the 4th. Then you have 15 minutes, 20 minutes in, and Bomo penalty. Then 5 minutes later, Wolves tie it up again. Then 2 minutes after that, Wolves go 3-2. And then before the half is over, Brentford get the 4-2. Somehow still ends 5-3. Just crazy. At Nori, pretty sure he's a left back. That dude is impressive.
The thing is, Wolves have good players. They do, but
technically,
they're gonna be clicking soon. They
technically gifted players.
Yeah,
they got speed. They got some techs in them. I remember when they were playing against Liverpool. I was this Nori guy. He was like all the way up the field. He would probably suit Tottenham.
Yeah,
the way he plays, he's just pacey. He plays wide and he plays forward. Techie guy. I was like, damn, he's good. I would love to have him on Arsenal, but I don't think he would suit our system. But maybe Tottenham.
Maybe
at this point, give Tottenham need all the help they can get.
And Arnie does. Old Arnie Palmy. Wolves, I know they were making the argument that Wolves haven't, they had a really tough schedule to start the season, and granted they have, but man, they're sitting at the very bottom. They're 20th right now, and it's
Sheesh.
It sucks that you're seeing you see the talent and you're like, dude, just win a game and you'll be out of the relegation zone. Win 2 games and you're clear of it. But right now it's Crystal Palace, Southampton, and Wolves. I see Crystal clicking, but Wolves, man, I'm starting to get worried a little bit. They, Leicester, they're playing with a little bit of fire. Everton, they're finally not blowing these leads or at least drawing. Ipswich, they've been playing with the intent to stay, so they got to kick it into gear. I know they Wolves have been playing good football, and the results don't show it. But the results need to start reflecting that. If not,
I think they'll get there.
Yeah, the difference between Southampton and Wolves. I wouldn't want to see the Wolves manager get sacked just yet. With Southampton, I think it's time. Wolves, I don't think so. But surprisingly, they're in the same boat right now. Which is weird, but that goes to show how the style of football is being played between the two and the results, and reading between the lines and kind of seeing, not taking the results for face value, but seeing what's happening in these matches.
Yeah,
like I said, to me, Southampton they don't look like they'll win a single game this year. But Wolves, I feel like they will turn it around at some point.
Yeah, I agree.
You think they'll be the first team to get relegated?
Yeah.
Lowest points?
Lower than last year, or do you just mean?
I think maybe another history, another record. Lowest points in total.
Yeah, I don't even see him clicking. I don't know. And watch, we're gonna lose to him, and it's gonna be there. All I'm here is clip it, clip it, clip it.
Clip it.
But yeah, I don't know. They look bad. Sheffield last year didn't look that bad. I feel like maybe it's recency bias, but Sheffield looked like they had spurs of little moments, here and there. But
We'll see. All right, a team that is giving everyone some fight, but at the end they couldn't do the rest of the league a favor. But they at the same time they did make Manchester City once again seem like a real team that's beatable, that's playable, and at the Etihad. So
Yeah.
Manchester City 3, Fulham 2. Got 2 goals from Kovacic, who's received a lot of criticism lately. Can he fill in the shoes of Rodri, who's out for the season with an ACL injury? And he answers here with 2 goals.
dark arts.
Unfortunately, they were 3 goals up by the time Fulham scored their second. But like we said, we expected Fulham to put up a fight, and they did. Regardless of the loss, this was a respectable outcome.
Fulham, they should have probably won this game. Is Traore, he had so many opportunities, and all he did was like basically just kick the ball. He had a lot of like one-on-one with the goalkeeper, and all he did was like basically just kick it directly towards him instead of doing it to the sides or anything like that. This game could have been so much different if he would have connected on those shots, on those opportunities. Could have been a totally different game. It could have been, Fulham 3-1 or 3-2 at the point. I just think it was missed opportunities from your striker, Traore. And I remember even at the end of the match, Pep Guardiola was giving him like little tips, like should have done this, that. Those missed opportunities are what are the difference between 1 point, 3 points, or no points.
Yeah, it's very true.
Did you see the Jimenez assist?
That is that back heel. Beautiful.
That was nasty.
I think this team is like this team might be the dark horse of the league right now. It's
and it's a shame that they lost Paulinho on a transfer.
Yeah.
I mean, he was supposed to leave the season prior to this one.
So what? Bayern, I believe?
To Bayern Munich, yeah, Bayern Munich, and he stayed. Arsenal went in for him, and he said, "No, if I'm not going to Bayern, I'm staying." And it's a shame that he's not in this team because I think this team could get into the top 6 if they had that extra bit of players quality. They could have made it, and who knows what they could do in the winter. If they're top half of the table, let's say 8, why not grab a player or two that can push you to make that top 6?
Yeah,
and get Tottenham out. Yeah.
This team is fun to watch, though.
It is. They're very fun to watch. Good talent, well coached. Real Jimenez has had like a little resurgence. I think good for him and good for those team. I think Fulham has been that team that's like, okay, it's not. I don't want to say a feeder club, but they just stick around and they're just there. I don't want to call them irrelevant, but in a sense, not that harsh of a word. But seeing them be successful, it's kind of fun. It's kind of fun to watch, and bringing that competition to London, it's cool. It's cool to see them be successful.
It's nice to have some successful teams that win games in London. Yeah,
fairly.
All right, so let's talk about this one. Everton 0, Newcastle 0. Newcastle away at the Goodison Park. Choppy game. Weird one. You would assume that Newcastle could have taken Everton, but Everton they gave it a go, and Newcastle did get a penalty awarded to them, which was taken by Gordon, former Everton player, and Pickford did save that. Yeah, he was getting a lot of hate.
A lot of questions were, would you have let him take the penalty?
I don't know why he would. I
don't know. Yeah.
I don't know why he did.
Especially when away or, playing at Everton.
Coming back to your old team, which everyone says that you were basically begged, you to leave the club, that you basically push yourself out of it. And then to get all that hostility from the crowd. hats off for you for trying to like shut him up.
You got to have confidence to do that.
Yeah, but I think it should have been someone better, someone with I don't know, with a calmer head.
Trippier could have taken that.
Yeah, or Tonali, or someone else, but he shouldn't. I believe he shouldn't have taken it.
I think it was a statement kind of move to make, but unfortunately, bit him in the butt.
It backfired.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But overall, I think it was just a good draw for Everton.
It's like they're picking up now. They had the win. Now they got a draw against a top team. Now they got an international break. Calm down a little bit, readjust, get their head back on, and hopefully attack the season well. Because you got the rough stuff done already. Hopefully that's the last of it. But now they got a good start. Keep that momentum going. I mean, I feel like that team is clicking. I mean, still that penalty that the defender gave was a stupid foul anyways to give. But they just got to play smart. They can't afford to give away penalties like that, stupid fouls.
The Everton season doesn't start until October anyway, so
it's still preseason.
All that other stuff didn't count. Yeah. They're like, by the way, these games count. And they're like, oh shoot.
You tell us now.
You guys have a little more belief in Everton now?
I feel like they'll get out of the relegation.
They're gonna ride it. They're gonna be in and out of it. But I think they're gonna survive. I think the way these other teams are playing, it's gonna.
At least they're like, there's there's more teams worse than us in this case, so we're fine.
Yeah, because you've seen Everton go up to 2-0. I haven't seen that from Southampton.
Now they could put the fight that they put in this game together with that team that goes 2-0 up at the beginning. Now they got to solidify those two. But the 115 charges for Manchester City, the case has started, so we'll see how many points Everton get deducted and see if they can.
It's like we're not even involved.
They're gonna get relegated.
You're to get deducted points.
Manchester City guilty. Everton relegated.
We got the wrong blue. We switched up. We got the wrong blue team by accident.
All right, Chelsea at home hosting Nottingham Forest. Chelsea won. Nottingham Forest won. Disappointing from Chelsea? Is it? Are they coming back? Is this still part of the inconsistency? Part of they're still getting used to the system, players, rotation?
Sure, it's. I think it's kind of bringing Chelsea down, kind of a reality call. But you kind of have to give Nottingham Forest a little credit. I think they've had some good results lately, and I think they're not as bad of a team as we were all putting them as, and I think they're
as we all picked in the beginning.
I think they're I think they deserve a little bit more credit for this draw than us talking about Chelsea not being as good. Although Chelsea, with the squad they have and all the money they've put into it, with the bench they have, I feel like they do deserve a little bit of criticism for this,
So you're saying Chelsea was essentially gaining speed and Nottingham Forest kind of put a stop to that momentum, so they deserve the credit for...
I think Nottingham Forest kind of said, hey, like, we're for real, this is us.
Yeah, like that Liverpool win wasn't a fluke.
I mean, they played with 10 men for 12 plus minutes.
Over 10 minutes, yeah.
Yeah, not even, it's almost 20 minutes.
Almost 20 minutes, yeah.
So
yeah, good on them.
Inuno Spiritu Santo. Does he have this team in form? Possibly. I mean,
he could.
They beat a weak Liverpool, so let's see.
The weak Liverpool. Then what are Spurs? If you're all the way down there and the weak Liverpool's at first,
none of your business.
All right, let's make it our business.
Don't worry. Oh, speaking of,
let's make it our business.
Spurs,
Brighton at home, a week in Brighton side. They were
and that's an episode.
So yeah, Brighton at home, 3-2 Spurs. Alan, how do you feel?
Tell us. This is your therapy session. How do you feel?
Lord. So
this is another game of two halves.
So I'm kind of glad. It really is. There's been some results we had in the beginning of the season where Ange came out and it was like, you know what? I don't know why everybody's so mad. From what I saw, we had a good game. We were just unlucky or we just didn't capitalize on our opportunities. In this game, he was different. He said this was absolutely embarrassing, disappointing, gutted, worst loss. And I'm glad he said that because, unfortunately, I didn't have the opportunity to watch this game live. I was driving back from
the dentist.
Yeah, I wish I was driving back from driving off the cliff. So I went back and I watched this. I remember, I was checking the scores and I was like, oh, 2 up. Great. That's where we need to be. That's where we have to be. Brighton's I said it before, Brighton might have been on the decline. I don't change my mind, by the way. So you can clip that.
Clip it.
Hold your thought. Hold your thought, Alan.
We were up 2-0. Yeah, okay. Clip it. Listen. I'm not saying anything bad about Brighton. They're not on our level, but I'm not saying anything bad about them. Yeah, we went up 2-0, and I thought, okay, the second half, here we go. We're gonna keep at it. I was expecting a 3-0 at this point, so I didn't watch it live. So I did have to, I knew the results, and I had to, sit down and unfortunately force myself to watch this game. But one thing I did take away from this is Brighton, and I want to say this with my chest out. Brighton didn't beat us. We beat us. We let Brighton beat us.
I think you let Brighton there's a difference. You. Yeah, I did think you let Brighton beat you, but they did beat you.
They did. They took advantage of our complacency. They took advantage of our lack of defending. They took advantage of all that, and I'm glad, like I said, as well. I'm glad Ange came out and said what he said because it's true. It's the way we lost this game. It's unacceptable. We gave them this victory. Udogie, I think he played his worst game in a Spurs jersey. That dude, his defense cost us this game. Romero cost us this game. We were just standing around. We took this, 2-0. It's a known fact. Everybody, says it. 2-0. It's the most dangerous scoreline in football. It's a false confidence that you build, and that's exactly what we fell. And we fell into that trap. And we let 6-year-old Danny Welbeck, he's probably as old as Pat, 60, 50. He scored on us. And it's that last goal, Romero just standing there, hands in his pocket. He might as well just have sat down because of what.
Wait, you're talking about playing. Romero, the one that you said was the top center back?
Player of the season, Romero?
It's one game. It's one game.
We're not losing after
this. That one game.
We're not losing after 3 points.
This. Yeah, that one game. So 3 goals. It's not just one. It's 3 goals.
On Romero's watch. It's
a North London derby.
Don't worry. We're going to win the rest of our games. Right? So this is... All right, we had this stumble. Sometimes you have to hit rock bottom to grow. So the silver lining from this, what I take, right? Because if it's all negative, then I'm just gonna, give up the season, But I'm not gonna do that.
And you're gonna be a Man U fan.
We got to get to second place because I'm not a liar. So at least I can take some positives out of this, right? Because we did have a good first half. We completely dominated that first half, I think. Solanke, his pass to Brandon Johnson, his pass to Timo, which, man, if Timo can just get in form, if he can just finish, I honestly, I know you guys are going to laugh at this, but if Timo can get into form.
Like his Red Bull Leipzig form?
I think we would be in top 4 at least right now.
I think Arsenal got the right player from Chelsea.
Yeah. I think we're kind of hoping that he turns out to be how Havertz is, and we were hoping that Ange can bring that out of him. But I don't want to say he's a lost cause because he does do a lot of off the ball, and his pace does help our style.
You're lucky it's a loan, though. That's the good thing.
Yeah, but it's like you just want him to finish. You just want him to do that little extra. And I think that would be a difference maker. But I think seeing Solanke and his assist and his pre-assist, his assist of the assist, it's a good sign. I'm glad he got called up to England. I'm hoping he makes a difference up there and he keeps up his form. Brandon Johnson, 6 for 6. I'm glad to see that too.
I was looking at the call-ups, and Tottenham are letting a lot of their players to this international break.
That's going to hurt you.
I was very happy to hear that Havertz all of a sudden has like a little knee discomfort, so he's not going to Germany. Thomas Partey said he's got like the flu or something like that, so he's not going.
It's Arteta. Wow, that's Arteta right there.
Hey,
being a little
Dark
snake.
Arts FC. Nah,
His
these are
little
the players.
snake.
They
He's
know.
like, don't tell him you're sick.
Tell them you're foggy,
You're foggy.
you get the foggy flu. But yeah, so I don't
It's
know.
like that COVID. You remember that COVID? Oh, we have too many guys. Like, oh, bro.
Oh, that excuse.
It's Arteta. That's why he's a little snake.
The thing is, we were gonna play. What happened during that COVID season? No. I have to talk about this because I flew to England to watch this Arsenal Wolves game that got canceled, and Wolves canceled it because they said, "Oh, we have too many players out with COVID." And it's like we were ready to go. So then Arteta was like, "All right, so I'll pull the same card." And as soon as we did, they're like, "Oh no, you can't do that anymore. You play with the players you have."
You guys had one guy in COVID.
Yeah, that was.
And
that's
then
what
you
I'm
called
saying.
COVID.
But you sent everyone else on loan that time too. So that was your fault.
No, you snake Arsenal snarkinal.
No, man.
Someone call you guys.
It's when we do it, it's never okay.
That's how we do.
Jurgen Klopp did everything that Arteta does, and then somehow everybody hates when Arteta does it.
That's because Jurgen's a winner.
Both of them are.
We won FA Cups.
Win. What'd you guys win?
We won. Oh, sorry. You don't know what the Champions League is. You don't know what the Champions League is. You don't know what the Premier League title
wins.
is.
Like you won everying, and it's like, bro, you guys.
We did win everything.
One trophy,
we
and then
won
we're
all
equal.
the trophies available.
We're one trophy, and we're equal.
How?
We're on the same level.
How?
Yeah, because you guys.
Tottenham has never won the Premier League, not once, and we have.
I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about with manager wise, like with Arteta and Klopp. You guys aren't all that far ahead.
Yeah, we are.
As recently.
Oh no, but with Jurgen and Arteta, we're different. We won every trophy available to us.
I mean,
including the FA Cup.
We win one, and then we're like, okay, we're equal.
You're not equal at all.
Right?
Depends what you win, though.
Yeah, it depends what you win. But Champions League, you ain't getting
Eric Hagen has gotten more trophies than you guys, so
he has. Yeah.
He's a better manager than Klopp and Arteta. Then,
nah, I mean,
if that's the barometer, that's where we're going off.
If you're comparing his trophies to what's it called, Eric Hagen,
now it's different.
Anyways,
I don't know why we're talking about trophies.
When it's trophies, it matters. When it doesn't, trophies, it doesn't matter.
You're sounding like Eric Hagen now.
Yeah.
Anyways, we're coming in second, so.
So I was gonna say, I saw the list and I saw Tottenham had a lot of players leaving. You're risking a lot for a team that I feel like Tottenham doesn't have a lot of rotational players right now, except for it does have rotational players. You do have rotation. You have a young bench.
That's the thing,
But now you don't have really like a like for like replacements.
No, exactly. And you see it when we play our European competitions and the domestic cups. We do a 9-man. There's a 9-man change on the starting 11, and you can see that they don't click. You can see that there's a difference in style play. You got these guys who haven't played together. Yeah, might have that main core. These young guys might not be up to the pace of the football we play or the style, and you definitely notice that. So if we do have an injury, it's gonna hurt because, like I said, those young kids coming in, it's becoming used to the tempo and to one another. So hopefully.
You have 13 players going to an international break. So I'm going to name them all. You have Ben Davies going to Wales. You have Kulusevski going to Sweden.
Ouch.
Romero going to Argentina. World Cup qualifier. That's justifiable. Mm-hmm. All right. So Bissouma, Brendan Johnson, Sarr, Dragusin, Van de Ven, Udogie.
All stars.
Bergvall. Porro. Vicario, Solanke. That's your whole starting lineup. That's your whole starting lineup from the back to the front. Vicario, all your defense, your 2 wingbacks, your goalkeeper.
How are you feeling now?
Let him cook. Did you just hear that lineup? Man,
I mean,
how are we not in first?
Even Allison pretended to get injured not to go to Brazil.
I know.
What's you know?
Are you still thinking second place?
Hey, it's a pride thing.
I know. I get it. But at the same time, I'm like, sheesh, that's a lot of because we let our back line go too. I mean, Saliba's going to play for France. Gabriel Magalhaes is going to Brazil, but I just feel like we he did. Not Jesus, Gabriel, our defender.
Yeah,
Gabriel got called up.
But then again, everyone's complaining about too many games, but you guys decide to go. Yeah. I mean, I understand you want to represent your country, but you're also complaining about too many games, and you decide to go play international games as well. So that's basically, if something happens, it's your fault as well. But then again, you can't say anything about.
Qualifiers have always been there though, so I can't fault them for that. But
yeah,
the Nations League in Europe, like you already have the Euros, you know what I mean? Why is there a second competition?
Because they want more games, more money, and it's stupid. And if you're going for friendlies too, whatever, it's I wouldn't.
There's been too many. There's a lot of injuries this year too, and it's almost like
there's season-ending injuries.
It's almost like we always hear the same story of too many games, and what do? Just add more. I mean, like when the World Cup was in Qatar, and I'm sure the World Cup's going to end up back in the Middle East at some point, and it's just going to be the same thing over. And
so there was a good debate going on online, which I'll bring to the table here. There's been talks of a player strike, to basically discourage this all these extra games being added. Obviously, the Champions League being enlarged, allowing more teams, which means more games to be played. Same thing for the World Cup. Same thing for Copa America, Euros. So it's not so much that they're adding more competitions only; it's that they're also extending these competitions to play more games. So there has been word of a possible strike from players. Considering how much money they make, do you think that's a reasonable thing to see?
I want to say, as a kid, all we wanted to do was play. Like after school, let's go play. We played till the sun goes down. That's what we wanted to do as kids. We wanted to be a soccer player because you get to play the one thing you love doing, playing. I don't want to be a dick, but I feel like you're basically getting paid to do what you love. And if you get injured, I mean, you're still getting paid, I feel they have every right to protest and strike, but I feel like it's a little too much. You can just, I don't know, you can maybe tell the coach, hey, coach, I'm not feeling well. You can make an excuse. Hey, I got the flu. I'm not going to play or something. My ankle's sore or something. I think there's ways to get out of it. That's my take on it, though.
So I understand that. And I kind of feel that way too, but I also see it in a different way. It's not that they're like, oh, this is too many games. Like, I don't have time for myself. It's more like, this is too many games. I'm going to get hurt. And then I'm no longer going to be able to keep playing football. I'm going to get hurt and I'm going to miss out on, competitions that actually matter. I'm going to miss out on my Europa League, the Champions League, the World Cup. The Premier League or, the Serie A, La Liga. It's, to me, it's...
And maybe your replacement is better than you, and that takes more games away from you, too.
Yeah, so, I mean, look at all the injuries, the season-ending injuries right now. It's not that they don't want to play because they don't have time to go vacation in Ibiza or who knows where in Colombia, Puerto Rico, whatever, It's not that they don't have time for that. It's that they're scared that they're going to get injured playing. And, that's their livelihood. If they can't do what pays the bills, then what's going to happen after that? If they're young and they have a season injury and now you have there's certain injuries that you get that are reoccurring. Once you have it once, it's very easy to have a reoccurring injury. And maybe they don't want it because how many, careers have you seen get ruined by that? Constant injuries, like Reese, like Reese.
I will add to that. I would say they do make a lot of money, so it's hard to hear complaints. But I think you're right because they're not asking for more money if they're going to play all these extra games. They're saying that it's a big weight on their bodies, and like we mentioned before, the average career of a football player is probably 8 to 10 years. And an injury like an ACL, you're out for a whole year, and then the next year is like you're basically taking the whole year to get back into the rhythm of things. And like you said, World Cup's only every 4 years. You've seen when players like right before the World Cup, they'll kind of lay on the ground and say, "All right, I get to sub that," because they don't want to get injured before a thing that could mean the world to them, because they literally are putting their bodies on the line. And people have spoken about the mental effects that an injury can have on a person, on your emotional and mental health. You know what I mean? You're the only thing that brings you joy. Yeah, the only thing that brings you joy, and it's taken away from you for something that could be preventable. So I wouldn't say that a strike is. Let's say, I think the fairest thing would be like they go on strike, but then they don't make money while they're not playing. But they don't make money, so they're like, we're gonna go on strike. We're not gonna get paid if we don't play, but we're gonna take a break to make a stand for ourselves. I think that would be. I don't think anyone can complain about that.
So you wanted sort of like the NBA lockout type of thing?
Yeah, maybe.
I think each player should be like, okay, you can only play X amount of minutes in one calendar year, or X amount of games in one calendar year, so that when it comes for those international, competitions or European cups or domestic cups, that's kind of hard because you're weighing which one is more important.
Yeah, exactly.
It's okay, like you have this many minutes, like you're only allowed to work this much. And they go, okay,
so then there goes your contract. That's the thing. I'm paying you this type of money. I want you to.
Yeah, but it's hard because
everything inflicts. Everything is.
But you get invited to internationals.
You do, but I mean, let's say your team's on the brink of qualifying for the World Cup for like the first time in like 10 years or something like that, and you either choose to do that or play the Champions League final. You know what I mean? It's like. I just can't imagine that. Like with this closest title race came last year. Imagine Haaland played his maximum amount of games and he can't play that last game that would guarantee Manchester City with a win the Premier League title. But you can't play Haaland though because he's already played. What's one more game? I just too much. I think it would be too strict to be able to control.
So then, what do you do? I mean, I think there's some tournaments that I think could be. Like all these friendlies, I don't know.
Maybe for the domestic cups that you have to play, like you're under 21s or something, a minimum, like half the squad has to be under 21.
Well, it's like they have the what's it called? Your nationality clubs. Like you have to have a certain amount of English players, homegrown players in your squad.
Yeah, but do something to basically force rotation upon managers. I don't know.
But then again, they're going to say, why do these people come to these games? Because they want to see the Mbappe, they want to see the Diaz, they want to see Saka. That's the thing. That's why that's why they're talking about that in the NBA as well. Like that.
Yeah, the NBA has that word.
This might be their only time that they get to see a game, and they want to go see the stars. They don't want to see the bench player.
Yeah,
that's all that money, all the hard work they spent to get those seats, and then you're not there to see the ones you want to see, the one that you got the jersey for with the name on. So that's why it's all conflicting.
It is a hard one. I just think I don't think much is going to happen because these changes have already been made. I don't think they're would retroactively make the Champions League smaller again, unless they change formats. But
maybe the Super League is the answer.
Why? Spurs won't be in there.
Okay. Keep losing to Nottingham Forest and we'll find out.
Get past Brighton, all right? Get a league and hold on to it.
Arsenal didn't beat Brighton either, so let's not get too ahead of ourselves.
Wow, that's the only way they can stop us. Is with these shady red cards that Tottenham don't get, even though they elbow players in the chest.
Jesus, here we go. Play that violin. Play that. Pat Stoggy. Play that violin.
Let me look it up. Come on.
All right. So I guess the only thing that we can really hold each other to is the mini league.
Oh gosh.
So here
And
we
that's
go,
it, folks. That's it.
We went into this weekend. I was sitting in first with 13 points. Randy in second place with 6 points, and Alan in third with 5 points. Here are our predictions for this past weekend. Alan predicted a 3-1 win over Brighton.
So close.
Sorry.
you know, when you were 2-0 and then Brighton scored 1, I said you only need one more goal, and that wouldn't give you 3 points. You would have taken Randy
I know.
from that second spot. Then you also predicted a 2-1 win by Aston Villa over Manchester United. So you get 0 points. 0 points. You went from 3-0. My predictions for Arsenal were going to win 3-1 over Southampton, which we did. So I get 3 points. Whoop, whoop, whoop. And then I predicted a 3-1 win by Aston Villa over Manchester United. 0 points for that one. Randy predicted a 2-0 win by Liverpool over Crystal Palace. You get 1 point for that one. And then a 2-1 win by Villa over United. So 1 point for you. So I'm sitting first with 16, Randy in second with 7, and Alan in third with 5. Are you ever going to get out of that third spot?
Oh yeah. I mean, a lot of season left. Don't worry. I mean, I have a lot of clean sheets, so
we're not even a quarter of the way. So we're not even a quarter of the way in. So there's lots of season left.
You tell me what the problem is.
Okay, Ten Hag. All right, that's an episode. Thank you so much for joining us on Rivals on the Pitch podcast. Don't forget to follow us on Instagram, Rivals on the Pitch. Please leave us some comments, questions, concerns. We have a 1-800 number. You can give us a call anytime. They can answer all your questions. But thanks again. Episode 12. It's a wrap.
Woo. Boy. Yeah, boy.